He pulled me by the hair. He forced me to open my eyes. And then he said, "Welcome to Gaza."
So you were like dancing or having your tea, and then you saw rockets in the sky. What did you felt at that moment?
It was rockets, it was RPGs attacking us from right, left, back, front. You cannot run. Anywhere you go, you're being ambushed. We were in the middle of a potato field. There is no place to hide. It's completely dirt. I was pretending to be an Arab. I screamed, "Please don't kill me. Ana el Arabia." They took a video of me and they posted it to TikTok, and that's how my parents discovered that I was kidnapped. They sold me to the Hamas.
They were paid for that?
Yeah, of course.
When you are a woman and there's 13 men, did you have fear of sexual violence?
Of course. Immediately at the entrance to Gaza, you see all the people cheering in the street. I see old people, and a 17-year-old child in the middle of the street screaming. I saw people from their houses, from the window, What are you cheering for? Me? I'm the prize? I felt like a bull being entering into arena, but I saw all the faces being happy. I was not happy.
At that moment, did you imagine that there were other hostage or other people like you, like in the same situation?
1 terrorist, 2 terrorists, 3 terrorists, weapon. Where am I? I'm in a house, the most authentic house, and everybody's happy. I'm not happy. Nobody's trying to save me. I never told that thing, ever.
Part 1, October 7 at the Nova Festival, the day everything broke. It's a recording? The sound? Thank you so much,
Hi.
Moran.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so of course there's people in the room, so I'm a little bit stressed now.
Oh.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. I'm feeling so blessed to have you here in my podcast. Do you know the name of the podcast? The name of the podcast is Conversation Before the End of the World.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be really intense and beautiful with you.
I can't wait.
I'm French, and in France, those past 2 years, anti-Semitism was being really huge, and it was so important to me to have you. I have also a sister. She's 40, and she looks exactly like you. So that's why I identify myself to your story.
You felt connected to it because it's like you can see it in your own eyes. That's the thing. Most of the stories, usually you say, it's so far away from me, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not coming from those kind of places. I'm not, we always push people to patterns, to
Exactly.
little boxes. Oh, that makes sense, and that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And every time a person met me, especially at the beginning, and, they see me, but you look like a normal human being, Yeah, all of us, we were normal human beings.
Yeah. To resume, of course, you are Moran Stela Yanaï. You were in captivity for 54 days in Gaza, and you're going to tell your story. First of all, can you introduce yourself?
My name, like she said, is Moran Stela, and not just Moran. It's Moran Stela Yanaï. I'm 42 years old. In my basics, I have some status. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a mother to a dog and a cat. I'm an artist. In the past 2 years, I'm a speaker. I have many titles, but in my basics, like I said, I'm a human being. And it's like, I can't say that my life changed 2 years ago because I felt like being prepared to that, and I didn't even finish that chapter yet. It's not done till the last hostage will come back home, and then I can start my next chapter in life. So it's not over yet, but in the past 2 years, my life got into a fast forward, 2 or 3 quantum jumps. It's different. It's me, but I'm like a different version now. And before October 7, I was in my peak highest moment of the most optimistic person, physically, mentally. I was in my best shape. I was in my best place in life, and I worked so hard to get it. And I felt like this is it. I'm one step before breaching and breaking all these glass ceilings, and all these boundaries that I put in my head through the years. And now it's going to happen. And then the party happened.
That's why my first question. That's what my first question. It was, in which moment of your life you were in before the 7 Octobers, like from the morning, But you just answered.
My point of view was very, very fresh and naive in the most positive way to life. I was expecting to get to know new cultures and new places and new people because I'm coming as a better version to the situation, And the festival was the first festival I had. I've never been in festivals before that festival, so...
What's your link with electronic music, and festival in general?
Yeah. What's... I always say it in my lecture, like the best moment in that party was 6 a.m. in the morning, and I couldn't understand it, but people explained it to me. Everybody waits for 6 a.m. But I say, but you come at like 10 p.m. and then you dance all through 6 a.m. You should be tired, And they say, no, everybody waits for 6 a.m. because the sunrise, it's not just a simple sunrise. It's the time that people gets to see each other's faces, and then they see how happy they are, and then they see the different, You know what I saw? I saw 19 ages, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, 66 years old woman coming with her children to the festival. It was so, there was such a variety, and the different culture, different nationalities. They had more than 20 nationalities in the Nova. I didn't know that people came especially, from overseas to that festival. I thought I'm coming to open my shop for the first time,
How was the festival at that time? What is the context of this festival? Like what is about? Like it was about music.
I think it speaks about freedom mostly. That's the main act. I've heard about many festivals around the world, and each one has this thing. But at the Nova, it's all about freedom. It's all about that variety. It's all about that difference. It's all about 4,000 people reaching out to the same frequency at the same time. That's almost impossible. It's sharing the same energy. And I think that we can agree today in 2026 that energy exists. We cannot touch it. We cannot feel it. We cannot see it. We cannot do nothing with it, but it's there. And it's enough that I will move a step from here and I will change the energy, right? Thinking about 4,000 people on the same and at the same energy, in the same amount, sharing it for each other, like, like a chain. And I saw it from a side. And for me, I got the essence in a second. Because I was like looking at the sky and say, you know what? Nothing happened tonight. I didn't sell even one jewelry.
Yeah, you were there to sell jewelry
Exactly,
because you are a jewelry designer. Really beautiful, actually.
I'm an artist, but yeah, in this is my jewelries, but I didn't start to sell them yet, so I'm not offering yet. But I came to open my shop for the first time, making my dream really coming true. Coming to this festival for the first time, everything was, really brand new to me in one hand, but on the other, I'm like a very spiritual person, very. And because I studied for 4 years, I was sitting down on the floor every single night, asking a question, like an essence question, and then getting the answer. And I'm studying with my notebook, and I'm writing every single day, how am I acting to this and that situation? How do I see this and that? How do I interpret it? What can I make a difference? How can I change this? How can I make myself smarter? I was like preparing myself to everything to become better. I was not knowing that I was literally preparing myself to be in captivity, and I got the essence in that festival. It's like, thank you, nothing happened, but thank you for letting me witnessing this moment, see those faces, see this happiness, see how nobody's judging each other. Everybody is okay in here. And there were even Muslims in there. We didn't judge. this is like a free zone, you know? And it's beautiful to know that it's possible to achieve that.
You were with friends there?
So I actually came to as a vendor. I didn't came to party. And I was very stressing because, like I said, I'm a very spiritual person, and I felt like something is happening till a point that I didn't even want to go. I told to my friend right before I left the house, I told her, let's stay, let's not go. And she said, you're just excited. This is just pure excitement, and let's pack everything and let's go. But it didn't leave me, you know, and got bigger and bigger and bigger during the night because everything looks weird and I cannot even explain. And, you know, at one point my friends are like, what is going on? What are you seeing? And I can explain. I don't know why I can't go to the chemical bathroom. I don't know why this area is really making me shivering. And I don't know why. I told to my emotional trainer 3 days before the festival, I told her, is it possible that Arabs will go in the street and shoot us? And she looked at me. She said, what? Where is it coming from? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, you don't need to be a medium or a psychic or a witch to get the essence that the energy is changing, you know. And
So you felt it, like
there were many things that I couldn't explain, you know, even after, because people came to me after and they said, you said it. You said this and that. And I said, I don't know.
Wow.
Like I have nothing to make it true, you know. But I felt something is going on till a point that literally I sent my friend to sleep in the tent behind the shop. I sent all of my other friends to dance. I put a chair outside the shop. I looked for hot water. I made myself a tea. And I watched everybody's dancing. And I couldn't understand why I can't like make myself calm. And at one point, I literally looked up to the sky and I said, I know you're not working on Friday and Saturday, but I have a question. What am I still doing here? You need to give me any clarification, any something to understand why am I still here? And I got a physical note. Somebody handed me a note. When my head is like this, somebody handed me a note. And because it was like very much confusion, I looked down and I opened the note and it says, there is logic in the craziness. There is no life without giving life. And when I look up, I see this 66-year-old lady and she's smiling at me. And I said, this is supposed to make me feel better. And she said nothing and kept on walking. And I asked my friends after, I said, what's the story? What is that? And they say she comes to the festivals and she, you know, randomly choose people and give them notes. What am I supposed to do with that? You know, so it got me even more confused, even more unease. So I was just waiting the entire night for something to happen, basically.
At 6:30 in the morning, there were like terrorists in like kind of parachute.
Exactly.
6:29. Okay, it's important to be precise, of course. And there's people in the sky in like kind of parachute, and they land.
No.
Did you
the
saw them?
parachute went to the kibbutz.
Okay.
But they was trying to make I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm saying they were trying to do something big in here, so they tried to discredit us from the situation, like to make us confused from another situation. So they shot rockets to the sky, thousands of rockets to the sky. So immediately we look up to the rockets. In the meantime, those parachutes went to the kibbutzes. And in the meantime, when we were handling the rockets, they bombed the fence to go into Israel. They didn't even came in tunnels. They just broke the fences and walked into Israel, you know? So everything was very, very planned. It was not just parachutes.
Okay.
It was rockets. It was RPGs. It was attacking us from right, left, back, front. You cannot run to anywhere you go. You're being ambushed.
So you were like dancing or having your tea, and then you saw rockets in the sky. And what did you felt at that moment?
So for me, it was exactly like 6:20. I'm waking my friend up from her sleep, and I'm like, you know what? Nothing is happening. Let's go dance. Let's set it free. Let's go dance. You know. And I'm making her tea. and she's handling the water. And I'm like looking at the sky. I see the rockets in the sky and I can't speak. And I was just like pounding her leg. You know, at one point she was like, what? And I was like, I couldn't even speak. I was like having severe panic attack because why am I having rockets on over my head? And then in the same minute, I don't know where I am. I mean, I know the name of the place and I mistake with the name of the place. This is the first time that I'm in here. I don't know where I am. Where I am.
It was in the hood. Like we've been.
I didn't know that I'm that close to Gaza. I didn't know that I'm in the area of the kibbutzes. I was coming into a forest, you know, and I didn't know the area from that side. Now, I was serving the army 23 years ago on the other side. I was serving on the border of Gaza, and I was serving inside Gaza, but it was on the other side. So I didn't know how that side looked like, you know, because we were in charge on one line. And it took me a while to understand what happened, you know, and I've never been in that part of the country. You need to understand, if my family knew that I was going that south, they will probably arguing with me, fighting with me, making me not going. I even texted my mother. She was asking, where do you go? I said, Revivim, not Re'im. I said, Revivim. She said, where is that? I said, I don't know. Somewhere in the south.
Okay.
That's the situation.
And then when you saw the rockets, you were with your friends, and what happened at that moment?
So against all other people running away, we are vendors and we are good Israelis. And at the end of the day, we don't run away from 7, 8 rockets, you know. But then we couldn't really understand what is happening. So we stayed inside the Nova facilities until 5 to 8 in the morning. That's a long time. It means that we were completely surrounded at that point, being shot by RPGs, grenades are being pushed into the Nova. We hearing automatic weapons. We were in the middle of everything, and we didn't hide. We pushed our cars back into the Nova instead of running away, because we heard there is a traffic and we didn't want to get stuck in a traffic, you know. So we thought it's better that we stay. We didn't understand that we are completely surrounded at that point.
You, at that moment, when you are in the car, you didn't see the terrorists?
No. We were not driving. We were outside the car, leaning on it. That's it. We were not hiding. Until a point, my friend looked at me and he said, when I'm giving you the cue, you're going to jump into the car. You and your friend, you're going to drive as fast as possible away from here. And at that point, I look to my back. I see thousands of people pushing a fence, like breaking the fences of the Nova and running and falling. And I had just a small glimpse out of it because I was starting to run immediately. And I don't know till today if they fell because they were being shot or they slipped, you know. And we had to run away from that place. We tried to drive with the car. It was impossible because we almost ran over people. And again, it's like your mind is blocking the situation. So you do the exactly opposite that you should, you know. And we were start running by foot. Eventually, it was 5 hours. 5 hours that we were driving with the car, running by foot, trying to understand what's going on, trying to survive, trying to figure out what to do with ourselves, and being picked up with this couple of strangers promising us that they will do the best they can to make us all survive. And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? And till today, we don't really know how to explain it, because all of my friends, we were 5 people in the car. All of them saw dead bodies, terrorists. Our car was being shot at. I didn't see anything. I always say it's like something sat next to me and he said, look down, look to your right, look to your left, block your ears.
It's the instinctual
it's like the instinct of information.
Yeah.
It's like the instinct of God, if you want. Because he was like, I don't need you to know what's going on, because I need you to act. Something is going to happen to you. And I need you to be the sharpest as you can. Because if I saw dead bodies and I saw the terrorists shooting, what would probably happen is me fighting them. and not let them do in me what I see already. Because if you're going to kill me, then I'm going to fight you. And that's like being right, you know? And I was looking to be smart in that situation. So I always say it was my protection. I didn't see what is happening right next to me. And it's not because I'm blocking it. I didn't see it.
And after that,
we got a command from the police to get off the cars, go hide in the trees. And then we were 5 people where we were in the middle of a potato field. There is no place to hide. It's completely dirt. And it's very curvy, very deep curves. So it's very hard to run on it. So we found a tree and we just sat down. But it took only, a few minutes to understand that we are completely exposed and everybody see us from miles away.
You were how many people?
5 people.
5 people, yeah.
And against all other people running towards the orange fields, we ran to the other side. So we actually ran very close to Gaza. And not knowing, again, we are not walking in those places. We didn't know the area. And we were hiding in that tree until a point that we saw about 40 minutes. We saw a bunch of Israelis coming towards us. And it's like we're suspicious. They said, everybody sees you from afar, you're not hiding. And I remember that I saw blood on one of them. And I said, I was just pointing to his pants. And he was saying, oh, this is not mine. And I was blocking it from my head. It's not yours. It's not happening, And until that point, it was just artillery sounds. So, okay, I got used to the artillery sounds. It's going to end soon, right? Like the army will come. Somebody's going to rescue us. This is not happening.
Because to people who listening to the podcast, in Israel, when there's something,
the army
coming in a minute.
Really fast. Like the army, the police, especially in those areas. There is like a amount of time that you should reach to a certain areas in the country. 0 minutes. There's supposed to be soldiers all over. We didn't know that the bases were concrete. We didn't know that they invaded into the bases and shot the soldiers. So we were waiting to the army. Nobody's coming to rescue us. What is happening? And then we heard screaming in Arabic coming towards us. Now that's a slap to your face. This is like, wake up, something is happening. I don't care how much ununderstanding you are right now, but you need to focus yourselves up, and no more anxiety attack, no more lack of breathing, no more oxygen. Wake up, something is happening. And at that point we were split up, like our group split into 2. Some of them just kept on running straight, and some of us turned right. And to understand the area, it's like a potato field, and then it's a dry river. So it's very curvy. It's almost look like small mountains, but it's not really that high. And we really believed we were hiding until we heard cuckoo lying on the bush, lying on spikes, trying to keep us like really quiet, silent, not moving, not breathing. And then you hear cuckoo. When I look up, I see a bunch of terrorists smiling.
It was the word cuckoo?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Okay, it's the same in French. That's why it's weird.
But they say the word cuckoo, it's like surprising you. Cuckoo.
Okay, yeah.
Like peekaboo,
Yeah.
And I look up and I see a bunch of terrorists. I thought somebody's coming to rescue me, The disappointed in my face, that's something I will never be able to repeat. The understanding that this is it. This is happening. And you don't have time to react. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to, okay, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do this. No time. It's like choose an act. And then I always say that something happened to me, because I always say my better version acted for me, literally switched places with me. I was inside my head and she was outside, because I don't understand how I reacted in that focus, in that situation.
At that moment, you were with your friends or you were alone?
No, at that point, the terrorist was already closing on me. And that was the last time I saw my friend. But we were very close to each other. So till today, again, we don't know how to explain really what happened, because One of the terrorists ran after her. One of them ran after me.
And then
But she survived. It's like he didn't see her. She fell down, and she doesn't run fast. He runs really fast. So I always asked her, what happened? She can explain. Like, I fell down. He kept on running. He came back and walked away. That's it. She survived. I mean, her story is crazy. She ran for almost 12 and a half hours. And she went through crazy things during the way, but I will keep her story to herself to share.
yeah.
But eventually I was by myself, and the terrorist is above me with an iron pipe and a knife on the other hand. And he was above me because I had to jump, and I didn't have, the essence to calculate the height or that there is more under those spikes. And I broke my leg immediately. I didn't know it at that time, but I broke my leg immediately, and I couldn't act, and he was about to beat me up. And I was pretending to be an Arab. That's what came out for me. I screamed, please don't kill me. Ana el Arabia. I used my 5 words in Arabic, and I had a necklace in Arabic with carrying my name. And that was like a strange story. That's not normal. Speaking Arabic, that's normal. People need to understand that we are a very mixed culture country. And
also a city, because you come from Beersheba.
exactly.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's not only like mixed country-wise. I'm coming from a coexisting city. I was born and raised when my neighbor is Arab, and the students and the colleagues and the people at work and the sell person in the stores, Arabs and Jews. That's what I'm used to. I'm also half Moroccan. I'm half Egyptian. My grandmother, she used to speak to me Arabic till I was 17. This is not a foreign language. For us, it's a beautiful language. It's a nice language. It sounds like a poetry, But when we use it badly, when you put bad attention, it doesn't matter if you understand or don't understand the language. You see it in the person's eye. And I was pretending to be Arab. I was trying to use manipulative, ways of using those 5 words, trying to act like, injured, trying to show them that I'm not fighting you, I'm with you, trying to be in the most manipulative way I can. And it worked. Because the first 2, they took a video of me and they posted it to TikTok, and that's how my parents discovered that I was kidnapped. But nobody knew that eventually I made them release me. And after being released from them, I don't hear anything anymore. I don't see my friends anymore. I don't see people anymore. I'm in the middle of a 400 acre of potato field. There is nobody in there. Okay, I walk. I'm trying to walk. I don't understand that I even injured. I'm walking, and then I hear screaming in Arabic towards me again. I'm like, what is happening? And the voice in my head says, do the same thing you did the first time. Do the same thing. It will work again. I promise you. 10 terrorists is coming, but I don't know that they are terrorists. They were in civilian clothes,
They have
no
mask or something?
No, nothing.
Yeah, like casual,
completely civilian. Eventually, I discovered who they were. They are named the Shabab of the Hamas, the children of the Hamas. Why? They are not the elite of the Hamas. The Hamas is more educated, more clean, more religious, And the Shabab is helping them, supporting them, It's pure civilians.
Okay.
Saying that they didn't know, denying.
They are a part of the movement, but not like
But they're
fighters,
not a part. They are not a part of the movement.
Okay.
They're pure civilians. So let's say one Hamas terrorist, for me, he gets $10,000 in an apartment. Then for 10 Shabab, that's a lot of money because they live from the food in the streets. They live from poverty. It's not the rich Hamas people. So they're helping the Hamas, and then they sold me to the Hamas.
They sold you to the Hamas.
They sold me to the Hamas.
How do you know that? And
eventually,
they were paid for that?
Yeah. Of course. Okay. I'll share one thing that is from ahead, but I never told that thing ever. But
Thank you.
every time they went to buy food, they came to the house and they used to show me the bills. And they calculate the bills, fold them and put it in the pocket. And I was like, where are you keeping the bills? It's like, I'm gonna get a refund for the food. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Organized.
yeah. I mean, even for buying me food, really? This is not a working place, my friend.
Like they buy food in the city to give it to you and then have a
Exactly.
refund
You get
for
a
that.
refund for food. It's like you go into a high-tech office and you get you get free food, right? So they get a refund for the food. Are you nuts? This is not a workplace. Many things in there handling us in captivity was out of real. But coming back
Yeah.
to that situation, the third time that I saw a bunch of them running after me, it was 13, but one of them was different. One of them had black clothes and had weapons on him, and I saw that the rest of the shabab, they have cold weapons. Of some of them have hot weapons. It's like different than the first two groups. Now I don't have my necklace anymore. I gave it as a bribe to make the second group
Yeah.
release me as well. Right, we jump in from place to
No
place.
worries.
This is my head. Welcome to my head.
We're happy to be in your head right
I'll
now.
close the story, then you will have the sequence.
When they capture you, they ask you to get off all your jewelry.
No. So the first group didn't touch my jewelries. The second group, I give them my jewelries, to make them shut up, to make them release me. The third group, when they came, from the first hand that was put on me, my entire body felt that this is gonna be bad. Prepare yourself, And they started dragging me. 13 men. I'm just one person. There was nobody in the area.
And one woman.
One woman, yeah, and I'm not even fighting them. I'm understanding. I was caught. I'm not fighting you. I understand. I will do whatever you want. If you decide to kill me, I'm preparing myself to that as well, I was just praying in my head at that point, no rape, no cutting. If you want to kill me. And that's what I was praying in my head. But the minute that I was realizing that this is it, this is happening, like nobody's coming to rescue you. Breathe and pray and get yourself in focus the fastest as you can. Because at that point, one of them realized that I have tons of jewelries on me. And he started to rip it off, one after another. It's like 7 necklaces. I had 5 bracelets on one hand. I had 6 bracelets on the other. I had 16 rings on me. I had a body chain on me. I was a walking business card of my business. And he didn't care the thick of them. He didn't care the amount. He didn't care about nothing. He was just like, pulling them off. And
With violence?
Pure violence. This is... It's
Yeah.
very strong. I'm making very strong jewelries, my friend. Apparently,
I gonna
good quality.
I'm gonna put the your
Yeah,
website.
this could be like the best commercial to a business. I'm telling you, this is a funny story, but it happened to 2 of us, me and another hostage. That apparently, when we came back, they asked who is the manicure that made her nails. It's like. They broke my body. They beat me up. I fell down so many times, beat my head. My legs was broken. I went through captivity, but was straight on, Nothing happened to it. And I even used it as a weapon one time. And I even negotiate. Like I sold my nails to get food one time.
No way.
We will come to that. But because I'm...
She's really good in business.
Yeah, very, very much. The fact that closing, I was running in my head. I will just sum up the situation. I was caught 3 times. The first time I was caught by 2 terrorists, and managed to make them release me. I was caught the second time by 10 terrorists, by not knowing that they are terrorists, Shabab of the Hamas, civilians, negotiate with them, manipulating them, using my Arabic, and they decided to release me as well. Now I'm completely confused. I don't understand what is happening, and I'm not aware to the severe of my injuries at that point. I was trying to walk, but where do I go?
Between the three between those 3 moments, you were alone, like they released you, you were alone, and then another group come and okay.
Exactly, like different people each and every time, and I'm by myself, and I don't hear anything anymore. I'm not hearing even people screaming anymore. I didn't understand that was the point, that everybody went hiding, and I was deciding to do the one thing we were not allowed to do on that day, screaming very loud, because I was so confused. My head was about to explode. When you don't have the information to deal with, your brain will want you to shut down. It's that easy. This is how it works medically. When you have too much of new information, you will freeze. And if you don't know how to react, nothing will work. You'll see. And at that point, I was screaming just to release it, And that's the point that I heard another group screaming in Arabic coming towards me. And looking to the back, I see 13 Hamas terrorists. When they caught me, like I said, they rip off my jewelries from me, acted very violently. Till today, I'm searching for that video, but we didn't found it yet.
The video of your
my last kidnapping.
I think in Noah Tishby podcast, there's a little
no, this
extract.
Is the first one.
Okay. There's another one.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Okay.
This is the first 2 terrorists that caught me. The video that everybody knows, I managed to be released out of it. That's the thing.
Okay.
But the video of me being kidnapping, that was very, very violent. And they tried to hit me, because there was a helicopter go above my head at one point. And I said to myself, if you're not doing something now, this is it for you, And I looked up, I was just trying to make him see me because they were covering my head. And I wanted to see it's a woman. And I got slapped to my face severely, and realizing that this is it.
It was an Israeli one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the first one to get there, he was the only one. It's like at the beginning, he didn't know what to do. Who do you shoot on? Our people? On them? We were all mixed up together, And all the world played for that. You know what happened to those soldiers? They have severe PTSD. They didn't know what they were doing. They were trying to save us, And they were trying, and I even prayed that he will bomb me. I'm just one person. This is 13 terrorists. 13 terrorists.
Only men?
Only men. Of course, only men.
And I have a question about that. When you are a woman and there's 13 men who trying to and who capture you, did you have fear of sexual violence?
Of course. But something happened on the second time that I was caught. I had a bra because it was too hot. I took my shirts off. And one of the Hamas terrorists took his shirt off and he put it on me. And that's what helped me on the third time that I was caught, because I was covered, you know. And I didn't realize it then. They will not sexually harassed me because they thought I'm a soldier. They want to sell me. I didn't know it at that point, you know.
How they
because of my pants and my shoes.
Okay.
I was wearing cargo green look-alike army uniform pants, like the exact one, and fashion army boots. They're not that smart or sophisticated. They truly believe that this is conspiracy and I'm an undercover agent. And I realized all this information only when I was inside, yeah? But at that point, they believed that they caught one of the highest intelligent, you know? And I was like, what is going on? And at that point, I had this voice in my head repeating again and again, release, do not resist. I promise you everything will be okay. Release your muscles. Do not resist again and again and again. And I even remember, like at one point, this is too big for me to be in here. And my body disconnected for a second, I was outside the situation. And later on, I heard more testimonies of the hostages, and I hear it. People are saying and describing the exact situation that at one point that was too much, and this worst case scenario list is going up, opening in my head. I'm checking one after another. It's not only somebody put a hand against my will. Now it's a man. Now there are 13. Now there are terrorists. The next one is that they will find a car. This is my last, resource. If somebody is not finding me now, that this is it. This is it. This is like the border, And at that point, we were 11 terrorists inside that car. I was really, truly folded into two on the back seat on 4 terrorists and driving towards Gaza.
It was a car, like a regular car, like
No,
or
they
pickup?
they shot on a Jeep that was driving, on a Kaya Jeep that was driving. And the people came out from the Jeep was Arabs that already stole that Jeep from Israelis. So they were shooting on their people and coming into that Jeep. That's why they entered 11 people inside of it. They just sat on each other, pushed everybody inside, driving towards Gaza. And
at that moment in the car, how were their attitudes?
Everybody was so happy, so enthusiastic. That was like the start of me feeling beaten. They beat me up towards the way, but I was disconnecting my body and I was not there. But in the car, I was with myself, and I felt it, like getting slapped into my face, being pulled by my hair, and hearing them cheering. I was like, I remember my face was so shocked, I couldn't even think. I was just praying not to see. Something will happen. And then I closed my eyes. And at one point, I heard one of the terrorists, the one that was wearing the blacks, he was like an insane person, because I named him the Joker because his smile didn't ended. It was like crazy face, crazy eyes, and he was like repeatedly screaming again and again, happy, 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 And he pulled me by the hair. He pulled my head up. He forced me to open my eyes. And then he said, welcome to Gaza. In the most theatrical way. I said it nicely now. He really screamed that. He was so happy. And at that point, like I said before, I was growing up in a coexisting city. Arab neighbors, friends, colleagues, students, I never judge people. Seriously, I'm too lazy to do it. It's too much effort. Come on. 100% of civilians at that point. From the smallest, I see children. I see old people. I see a person, a 17-year-old child in the middle of the street screaming, yeah, cheering. What are you cheering for? Me? I'm the trophy? I'm the prize? Now I'm a soldier too, in my head, I know what's the drill. What can happen if I'm gonna be stuck in the middle of the crowd. I have that information in my head. So I'm stopping praying to being saved. I'm starting to pray for one good hit to the head, that I will not feel all the rest. They will rip my body away from me, And
so the crowd,
the civilians,
like you get off the car, and then the crowd was children, women.
Immediately at the entrance to Gaza, you see all the people cheering in the street. You saw the videos.
Of course.
All of them in the street. I saw people from their houses, from the window,
With flags.
Yeah, that's why I said, when I described it to the first investigator in Israel, I said, I felt like a bull being entering into arena, hearing the crowd cheering, I was that tiny. There was so many people in there. And I really don't judge people, but I saw all the faces being happy. I was not happy. Nobody was trying to save me, right?
At that moment, did you imagine that there were other hostage or other people like you, like in the same situation?
No, do you think I see this crowd and our car stopped in the middle of the crowd? And when that door opened, it was for a second really because I couldn't bear it. I closed my eyes. But I saw thousands of people looking at me, you know, that close. And like I said before, I used my nails as a weapon. And if you touch it, it's very sharp. I stuck my nails on the person, on the terrorist that I was sitting on. And the thought that was going on in my head, use him as a human weight. Use him as weight. If somebody will try to pull you outside again, you're going to use him to stick. And if if you fall, he's going to come with you. You know, they're going to kill him too. That's the only thought I had in my head. But after being saved from that situation, you know, it's very twisted to say saved, but that was done. That was it. That if everybody asked me on a moment, on October 7, when was the moment that you understood? I didn't have a moment. I had a moment that I understood that I'm not alive anymore. I had that moment. And I don't know what happened, but in a fracture of a moment, somebody closed the backseat doors, pushed me inside, jumped into the driver's seat. I remember he honked so hard and he drove so fast.
It was the same car?
Yeah, on the same car.
Okay.
Somebody jumped into the driver's seat. Somebody went, like when the car stopped in the crowd, the driver and the terrorists from the back, except from one, left the car out. So the civilians tried to get in. And then somebody, I don't know till today how to explain it, because when I saw his face, that was the most frightened face I've ever seen in my life. But on the other hand, that was my angel. It's like an angel coming up from above and it's like saving you against all. How? How? And being pulled from that lynch, they shoved me into a hospital really fast. And I've been in a hospital only for about 10 minutes or so. Really thought that this is it again, because now there are many men in that hospital, including doctors that knew exactly what is happening and was speaking Hebrew, if to be accurate. And all I see is one of them taking off my shoes. Another one comes to take off the things from my pockets. Another one is standing above me and taking off my earrings, you know, and the rest of the jewelries that they didn't manage to rip off. And
you had
I was on an iron bed in a small room in a hospital, packed with men. I didn't really had nothing. They just shoved me on there. And now I see people are stripping my shoes off, my socks, my things away from me. I was like very afraid that next thing is my clothes and you know what's gonna happen. And at that point I see one of them is putting a cast on my right leg, and I said to myself immediately, like, you have to get up, like focus yourself up again. Nobody's gonna put that much of an effort if they're gonna kill you or do something to you right now. So do something, you know, remember everything, remember the faces, remember everything. This is not done yet. You still have time, you know. And they covered me with the sheet. Everything is very fast. Very fast. It's like 15 minutes in here, 10 minutes in there, tack, tack, tack. Everything is very fast. From that place, off we go to the first house.
But in that place, first of all, at that moment, did you feel that it was a plan, an organized plan, like something really organized?
Everybody was shoving each other and screaming, and some of them is wearing different uniforms, some of them is wearing different uniforms, some of them are in civilian clothes. I mean, who's against who? Like, what is happening? Who are you people? I didn't know who they are. They took the scars away. So I didn't know that they're Hamas or Jihad or whatever organization in there.
Because there's several organization, terrorist organization.
There are
in
many
Gaza.
organizations in there.
So it was a mix of maybe something. And then, when you were at the hospital, they tried to save your leg.
No, not operating.
Yeah.
They eventually, when I got out back to Israel and I explained to them what they did to my leg, they said, "You are so lucky that you got your leg to keep." Because they put amount of cast on my leg and put a pressure on my fracture, which prevent blood from running through. Few weeks into captivities, after 10 weeks, which was also a bad thing to my leg, they took the cast off and my leg was completely black. So they didn't take me to a doctor to, see if it's okay or not okay. And till the end, my leg, my injury, eventually I broke both of them, just to be accurate. I broke
At
both
the
of
same
my
moment
legs.
when you.
Not exactly. We don't know, but maybe I broke one of them inside Gaza. But, everything happens, like I said, so fast.
Okay.
The adrenaline is not leaving your body like in real life. After 24 hours, it stays with you day after day after day. So we have this parasympathetic system in our body that really keeps us safe. It's a very smart system, because what it does to you, it's like not letting the injuries evolve. It's like you're in survival mode and your body is being froze. So the peak of my injury came out only when I came back home. It's like my brain said, that's it, I'm in the country. 3 hours later, my leg was swollen to this size, And during captivity, it's like no treatment, no medications. Nobody comes to comfort you. Sometimes I don't have water. Sometimes I don't have food. So, and no matter how many times, like we spoke outside, no matter how many times I explain to them basic things. For example, do not sit us next to each other if one of us is sick. Let me be aside, because otherwise we're creating a loop and it doesn't end in.
Yeah.
And you people getting sick too. I mean, they think you have this plan to do something. Okay, this is not working. And like I said before, even when I'm trying to explain to them how to get decent water to drink, I explain to them how to do it. They look at me like I'm an alien, like I'm trying to poison them. And I only say, dude, take a pot, put the water in the pot, boil the water, and in the morning we will have cool, fresh water. And then he looks at you like you want to poison him. And he said, oh, this is Majnuna. She is crazy. I was like, okay, fine. I don't know. How do you survive? Seriously. But I was always trying to offer solutions, I'm with you. I'm here. Can we make it this better? And it's not working, because every time you speak, every time you try to offer something, every time you try to do something, it's a conspiracy. You're doing something bad, know?
And when you go off the hospital, what was the place?
So from this point on, the first place they took me into obviously was the first house. I was covered with a sheet and
sorry, between
a civilian house.
Between hospital and this civilian house. How did you
in
get
the
there?
car? It's like about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I mean, he was riding really fast. It's not working with Tel Aviv traffic, but it's a few minutes. Everything is like a maze, You're coming out from a house, you're going into a house, you can go down, you can go up. It's like a maze. You think about mouses, sorry. And when they took me to the first house, they pushed me into a very, very thin mattress and took the sheet off. Now I have an investigator in front of my face and he's smiling, he's happy. And I remember, the first image you have, 1 terrorist, 2 terrorists, 3 terrorists, weapon. Where am I? I'm in a house. I see, like the most authentic Arab house and everybody's happy. I'm not happy. What is happening? And at that point, I told myself in my head, you have to cry in the most hysterical way you can. Because until that point, I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't resist, like I said. So I was starting to cry because I thought in my head, maybe I will gain some mercy, a little bit. Maybe it will work in my benefit. And it did the opposite. Because at one point, he lost his patient, the investigator, and he kept repeating the question, where do you serve? Where do you serve? Again and again. And I really didn't understand. You think I'm a soldier. You made a mistake. That's good. And then I said, I'm not a soldier. What do you mean, where do I serve? And then he's like, where do you serve? I look down. I stop to cry very fast. And I understand the situation that I'm in. That is much a bigger problem to be at, especially in my age. And I understand the things really fast. So I immediately try to explain to him that this is fashion. It's not, soldiers' uniform. This is pure fashion. I'm an artist. I came from the party. It's not working. They declare me as a soldier and this is it. But at that point, I was by myself. And I really believed that somebody made a mistake. Because we are not allowed to kidnap civilians. We don't do that. It's not allowed.
Yeah, because the story of hostage in Israel, it's with Gilad Shalit, who were a soldier.
He's a soldier, so it's allowed.
Yeah.
We understand that.
It was the first time that terrorists kidnapped civilians in Israel.
So,
not
funny story.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Sorry.
There were civilians being kidnapped from Israel because of crimes, because of this and that, felony, whatever. It happened before. He didn't heard about it because it ended in 2-3 days. Because it's not allowed to kidnap civilians. It's that easy.
Yeah.
So you just need to prove that this person is not a soldier, and then you need to send him back. This is how it works. This is the law, the law. But it was not working at that point because after 2 hours, me really believing in the most naive way that somebody made a mistake, it's gonna, no worries. It's gonna be better soon. Somebody calls somebody and they will tell him she's an artist. She's from the party. She's a civilian. Like I said, I didn't know what is happening. So I didn't see other hostages. I didn't see dead people. I didn't know what's going on. And at that point, he entered the room, an 18-year-old girl. Like, she looks very young. She was barefoot. She was with her pajamas. She had a bright long hair, bright eyes, bright skin. And I understand really fast, she's definitely not from the party and she's definitely not Arab. But he pushes her to the end of the room and we are not allowed to speak for 3 days. So
this is the end of part 1 of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening so carefully. Part 2 is coming very soon.